You pretty much secured the southern border, haven't you?
Yes, sir. The CBP,
And that upsets some of my colleagues, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. They say you've done it the wrong way, haven't they? Mm-hmm. Could you answer that?
Yes, sir. They do say that.
Do you think they're upset because you supposedly did it the wrong way, or you think they're upset that you did it at all?
I think they're upset that by President Trump enforcing the law, it happened so quickly and successfully.
Yeah. Now, when President Biden came into office, the first thing he did was get rid of all of the things we were doing to stop people from coming into our country illegally, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I mean, it was like The Price is Right. Come on down. Except he said, come on in. And most of my Democratic colleagues went along with that, didn't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes, they did.
In fact, they cheered him on, didn't they? Mm-hmm. Is that a yes?
Yes, sir.
How many people do you think President Biden let into our country illegally? Just give me a ballpark figure.
Sir, we don't know for certain, but we believe it could be upwards to 20 million people that are illegally in this country.
So that's like adding 10 Nebraskas to our country, isn't it?
That's correct.
Why do you think President Biden and my Democratic colleagues did that? Do you think they believe in open borders?
I think they believed in open borders and letting people come into this country that would affect our society and criminals. Those other countries emptying out the worst of the worst, their mental institutions, their prisons came in here and jeopardized, and known terrorists.
Well, only one or two circumstances are possible, it seems to me. Either President Biden and the Democrats who supported him believe in open borders, or the people that President Biden put in charge of securing the border, you wouldn't trust to run a snowball stand, right?
That is correct.
So nobody is that incompetent. So it has to be, they just believe in open borders, do they not?
Yes, because I know the people who were securing the border and they weren't allowed to do their job.
Do you think they believe that vetting people at the border is racist?
Yes, I do. I think by the way they allowed people in and granted them immediate parole status.
Do you think that President Biden and some of my Democratic colleagues, I don't want to paint with too broad a brush, Madam Secretary, thought of these foreign nationals in our country illegally as potential new voters?
I do, sir.
Okay. If you're an ordinary American and you oppose illegal immigration, but you support legal immigration, does that make you a racist?
No, sir. No, sir, not at all. It just means that you believe there should be a rule of law, and that's what America was built on.
And that's what you've been enforcing, right?
Exactly. We have been following the Constitution and the rule of law in this country.
And I want to be sure I understand, because there's been a lot of confusing testimony here. You've secured the border, have you not?
This administration has, yes, sir.
And some of my colleagues are upset with you.
Yes, sir.
And they say you did it wrong.
Yes, sir.
And do you agree with me that what they're really upset about is that you did it at all?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want to ask you a last question about our federal judiciary. I've said repeatedly that all of us has a moral and a civic obligation to follow federal orders, and I stand by that. But there have been a lot of national injunctions, universal injunctions issued to try to stop you from doing your job. Where were these judges when people were breaking the law and coming into our country illegally? Were any of them speaking up and issuing national injunctions against the Democrats?
I don't believe I can be specific about every single judge, but these judges that now are trying to stop us from enforcing our laws, I don't believe or recall them
Can you
being
think,
vocal then.
Madam Secretary, of one single solitary federal judge who, when President Biden and my Democratic colleagues, not all of them, but many of them.
Gentleman's time has expired.
Secretary or Senator Murray went on over about 2 minutes, so I'm going to take a minute.
Senator Van Hollen just got shut down.
Yes,
right
if you can finish your question.
Can you recall one single solitary federal judge when President Biden and my Democratic colleagues were letting 20 million people come into the country illegally?
I don't recall.
Can you think of
Thank
one
you.
single solitary judge
you.
that issued a national injunction
more
to
than one
stop
question.
them?
No, I can't recall
I
one.
can't either. If there weren't
you,
for
Senator
double
Kennedy.
standards
Madam
around
Chair,
here,
Okay,
Madam
there
let's
wouldn't
go
be any
Senator
standards
Peters.
at all, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Senator Kennedy. Senator Peters.
Madam, let me just say, let's apply the rules fairly. Senator Van Hollen was asking tough questions, but was shut down pretty immediately when his time was expired. Can we at least have a commitment, Madam Chair, that senators on this committee will be allowed to submit questions for the record,
Absolutely.
and that you will
Yes.
Absolutely.
ask the Secretary to answer those questions?
Today's Senate hearing took a sharp turn when Senator John Kennedy grilled Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem over border enforcement under the Trump and Biden administrations. Kennedy pressed Noem on whether the southern border had been secured during her tenure, and whether critics were upset about the way it was done, or simply that it was done at all. Value for viewers. This moment matters because it highlights a core political divide, not just on immigration policy, but on whether enforcement itself is considered acceptable by both parties. If you want more deep dives into the most talked about moments in Congress, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss our next breakdown. Kennedy argued that when President Biden took office, he quickly reversed Trump-era policies that were intended to limit illegal immigration, describing it as come on in instead of come on down. Noem claimed this reversal may have allowed upwards of 20 million people into the country illegally, likening it to adding 10 Nebraskas. Value for viewers. Whether or not you agree with the numbers, the political framing here is important. Large, easy-to-grasp analogies like 10 Nebraskas are designed to stick in voters' minds. If you appreciate these fact-focused, context-rich reports, make sure you are subscribed so we can keep delivering them to you. Kennedy suggested that either Biden officials were too incompetent to run a snowball stand or they intentionally supported an open borders policy. Noem agreed, saying some Democrats see vetting as racist and may view undocumented immigrants as potential future voters. This exchange shows how political rhetoric is used to frame opponents' motives, whether or not that framing reflects actual policy goals. If you like understanding the strategy behind political soundbites, remember to subscribe for more clear, concise political analysis. Kennedy then shifted to criticize federal judges, accusing them of stopping Republican-led enforcement, but not issuing similar injunctions when Democrats allowed illegal immigration. Noem said she could not recall any such injunctions against Biden's policies. Kennedy closed by saying, if it were not for double standards, there would not be any standards at all. This is a key insight into how lawmakers frame the judiciary's role, suggesting bias not just in rulings, but in when legal challenges are applied. For balanced coverage that digs into both the legal and political sides of these debates, be sure to hit subscribe so you stay informed.